Hey, g'day there, fellow coffee chat friends. A few days ago, this last week, we did a little discussion on the idea of competition. And I just wanted to give a little review here as to some of the things that were said. It's one of those topics that's people are often for or against competition. So we had the mix here, all right. We went around the room and had a sharing of ideas, and then we had a discussion. Some of the points that were shared that jumped out at me is that competition can help to motivate us. It can inspire us, hopefully internally rather than externally. One individual said that the internalization of competition, in other words, having the competition be with ourselves, makes it fun. And he found it helped him to beat himself. In other words, not to beat himself, but to beat his last benchmarks, if you will, like to rise to a higher level. Somebody said it is normally good, however, it can go to extremes. If we lose the fun of the game, type of thing. Somebody said that competition is kind of the opposite of cooperation. There was quite a bit of mention of cooperation in there, for sure. Somebody else said that with age, competition becomes less important, and it's more important to cooperate because there's a violent edge, if you will, or potentially a violent edge to the competition side of things. Somebody said that society is programmed to compete, and he felt that this is destroying the world and is not natural. He thought that cooperation is more natural and competition is unnatural. So that was somebody else said they're neutral on competition, and that the experience of life was that competition was actually quite common within the family setting, and very often that it is the basis of a motive. Somebody said that it is helpful if it helps us to strive for things in our life and for betterment and what have you. And we each strive in our own way, but it often gets off base. Somebody else said it depends on what the ethics of it. If it's done ethically, then it's fine. Otherwise, it can lead to stories and to lies and ultimately become unethical. Somebody else said that competition can bring out the best or the worst in us. So in other words, it's kind of neutral. And one side is there's always a loser, and there's a survival of the fittest aspect to it. Somebody else mentioned that competition brings out a notion of lack, and that is likely an erroneous notion. And cooperation, in her opinion, would probably be better. Somebody else said that competition is innate. It's in nature. All of nature competes for grasslands, for spaces, for whatever they're after. And there was a bit of a discussion at one point as to whether competition exists in natural animals, and somebody had said that it doesn't. Somebody else pointed out that within lions, as an example, there's a great amount of competition for the harem and what have you. So that does seem to be the case. This competition can lead to pride and status. It can help fill an ego. It can lead to judgment and these sorts of things. We also had a discussion, and I had read out something that somebody who wasn't able to come to Coffee Chat actually sent. This is kind of one side of the competition, the negative side, you should say, perhaps. He says that Well, you know what I feel about competition. It goes against world peace. Take little kids learning to play soccer. They start out by the coach telling them it's just for fun. Then when they learn the game, it's about fun and winning. What is winning? It creates losers. How do losers feel? Not great. They feel less than. How do winners feel? Slightly superior. Why do I not like competition? Because it creates thoughts of, I am better than you. I want to be better than you. Our team played better than you and won, and you lost. It goes from the local team to the divisionals, to the regionals, to the provincials, to the Canadian finals, and then to the Olympics. We want our team, Team Canada, to be better than Sweden, Russia, USA. And it's usually about a ball or a puck placed there, and the skill and a certain amount of good luck. The emotions run high, but in the end, it does not lead to world peace. It divides rather than unites. It allows the ego to sit high on a perch, and if someone does not care to compete or cheer, they are seen as someone who does not want to have fun, or on a higher level of sports, someone who is not patriotic. If you play sports with me, I will let you win. Heck, I will score on myself. I don't want to keep score. I will mix up the teams several times during the game so that there is no us against them, because people forget about that after they are mixed up. They start to enjoy just being together without competition. If you play cards with me, I might show you my cards, or give you my points. I want no part of being better or less than you, not in family settings, or in league settings, or in the high levels in our country or in our world level of sports. I am all for fun interaction. So that's one stance on it, is that it has its negatives, I guess. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I had to share, and I say that I kind of agree with the guy who said that it's innate and it's natural. And I would say that the competition and the cooperation are two sides of the same coin. It seems like there's two sides to us. We even see it in the brain. There's the right and left hemisphere, and one tends to be more feminine, one tends to be more masculine. Typically speaking, it seems like the competitive nature is more of a masculine thing. I don't mean necessarily a man or a woman, but the masculine aspect of humanity. And the cooperation tends to be more of a feminine aspect. But that's just a prelude to what I wanted to say. I would say that competition really has two sides to it, and it's not so much whether it's competition versus cooperation. It's what is the competition doing? If we're looking at the one side of the coin, what is it doing? Well, it can do two things really. It can act to bring up that sense of scarcity, and in that case, there's winners and losers. And in sporting events, which are purely contrived, where there is only a winner and a loser, it doesn't really work that way in most of life. It's not as black and white as that. But even within that, that's number one, the scarcity part. Even within that, if there's something to be learned, I would say that it can be seen as beneficial. The other side of it, so that's kind of like an outward side. The scarcity is kind of like an outward expression of competition. The inward expression of competition, which other people have talked about, which is this striving within ourselves to become better, as though we're competing against, or we're competing for a betterment, if you will. Not even against anything, we're almost competing for at that point. And it's interesting to look at the word competent, because very often it doesn't have the same negative baggage that the word competition has. But the word competent and the word competition are the same word, just a different ending. And if we look at the origin of both, It means basically to seek and to strive, or to contend for something. To seek or to strive, that's a different thing, isn't it? And old scriptures talk about seek and you shall find. So this is about betterment. There's a part about competition that's betterment. And I remember in the movie Dead Poets Society that Robin Williams' character, John Keating, he was also the coach of the sports team for the boys. I forget, it was rugby maybe. And he had this line there about what was the purpose of competition. And even in the team setting, he basically said that the benefit of competition, or the purpose in competition, is to use the strength of the other team. So therefore you're going to have respect for the other team because it has strength. You're going to use the strength of the other team in a contest to strengthen yourself. So in that case, no matter what happens, is if you've given it your 100% and you've improved, then you've won. The different approach, right? So I would say that I think that competition has been given a bad rap because we've mostly seen it as a fight in this scarcity concept, produce winners and losers. And really, in a sense, in that sort of sense of it, we're all losers, because even the winners, no matter how much we win, in other words, we're still going to continue to look at others as an us versus them mentality, and their advantages, or perceived advantages, or differences. We're always going to be looking like that, even when we win. Because now we're going to want to win it. It's always us against them in this scarcity mindset of competition. However, if we see the competition process as a means of developing competence in areas of our lives and in the world, without the concept of limitation, then rather there being winners and losers, or winners versus losers, we strive for win-win situations. So it's always win-win. So that brings in, that's where we complete it. We join in with the cooperation, if you will. The two sides of the coin we recognize them as one. Conclusion, that I would say there's two sides, or two ways of looking at this idea of competition. One is a fight, which involves scarcity against others, which produces winners and losers, us against them. The other one is this gaining of confidence, or of rather competence, in this win-win situation. And I'll choose competence any day. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.